Amy.
Hi, I'm Gemma.
From Play to Learn Preschool. Thanks for joining us. I don't know why we have technical difficulties every day, but if the first couple people could just let us know if you can see and hear us before we talk too much, that would be awesome. And while we're waiting for you, we're going to tell you a funny story. So the other day, you all were leaving us the most fantastic cow jokes, and we thought we should share some farm jokes with our preschoolers. So I told this one to our students. What did the duck eat for snack?
Quackers.
And they were like, that's so funny. And then students started telling each other jokes. They were like, I've got a joke. What did the cow eat for snack?
Quackers.
Hey, I've got a joke. What did the pig eat for snack?
Quackers.
Oh, why are there, is anybody listening? No, I can't tell if you guys can hear.
so.
Oh, it's working. I do not know what the difference is. Anyway, and then they were like, where did the duck go to eat his snack?
A restaurant.
And we were like,
Yeah. You told them the one about the movies too.
Oh yeah, where did the cow go on a Friday night?
The movies, and they thought that was funny.
Oh, that's so funny. And then where did the cow go on Saturday?
Oh, I don't remember what they said.
To the restaurant.
Oh, that's right.
Where did the cow go on Sunday?
To the restaurant. To eat quackers.
Oh, preschoolers and jokes. They're hysterical.
And they think it's so funny.
They're laughing. Yeah. Anyway, if you've ever told your preschooler a joke, you might know what we're talking about. So, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad it's working. Thanks for letting us know. All right. Yesterday, we shared with you why it's so important when you're doing a read aloud during story time to not just read aloud the story for reading's sake, but to use that time to teach important comprehension skills. And we've done other videos in the past about how we teach our students to make predictions, about how we sometimes during the story use pictures or manipulatives or props, like Gemma said, to sequence the story. And the strategy that we shared with you yesterday is how we can use stories a few days in a row to teach students to make book-to-book connections. This book reminds me of another book. So today we thought we would share kind of a similar strategy. So making connections really comes in 3 parts. You can tell I'm a reading teacher. Put my reading teacher hat on for a minute. There are 3 ways that we make connections when we read. One way is, of course, this book reminds me of another book. But today, we're going to model for you how to make
book to self
connections. This actually comes very naturally and very easily to our preschool students. Much easier than book to book. And what we thought we would
all about themselves.
Excuse me. Sorry. What we thought we would do is share a couple of books that work really well for it, but really any book that you choose that has a theme or a topic or a problem that might have happened to your preschoolers is a good book for introducing book to self connections.
They love talking about themselves.
And it's one of those things like at circle time where one kid is like, I have a boo-boo, and then every other kid's got their pants rolled up. Look at my boo-boo, I've got a skin me, I've got a scam. It's like that. So we're going to share with you 3 stories that are really good for modeling how to make book-to-self connections. When we make those connections, we like to teach our students to say, that character or story or that thing that just happened, that reminds me of something that happened to me. And so here's some examples. Yes, this is Miss Gemma's favorite book.
I love this book. This is so funny.
This one's called Farm Flu by...
This one is actually, look, it was my son's when he was in kindergarten. And I've kept it because I love it. It's really cute. It's called Farm Flu
by Teresa Bateman.
Now, what happens in this story is the animals, actually it starts with the cow. The cow sneezes and the farmer child, because he's there by himself, the mother goes away, he leaves the child alone to take care of the animals. So the cow starts sneezing, and so the little boy takes care of them. He says, I'm gonna take care of you as my mother would do. So he puts the cow to bed, and the cow is, like, the cow's sad, the cow is in this picture, she's not feeling very well. So the farmer child puts the cow to bed and takes care of him.
At that point in the story, we would say to the students, has that ever happened to you?
Have you been sick?
Does that remind you of a time when you got sick? Who took care of you? And we're trying to get them to relate something that's happening in the story to something that has happened to themselves. So that's making that book to self connection. We might take a little break and let 3 kids share.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you can do that. Otherwise, everybody has to share. Yeah. Oh yeah, one time I was sick and my mom put me in bed and took care of me. That reminds me of something that happened to me.
And it continues with the child actually gives them different things. So he's giving the cow tissues. So you say, do you get tissues when you're sick? And then as the story goes on, the other animals get sick. And then
get sick
because they see the cow, I think, having a great time laying in bed and not doing any work around the farm. So eventually he's got all of the animals, and the chickens are sneezing, the pigs, and he makes a little room in the top of his attic for the sheep. And then he realizes that he's being played, and he's not happy. They're like living it up. They're living it up in his house. Look, here's the donkey laying on the deck, and he's got popcorn. He's saying more popcorn, and they get out of control. So
we might say,
yeah. What does your mom bring you to eat when you're sick? Do you get soup because he gives one of them soup, or do you get hot chocolate? What do you get when you don't feel good? And hopefully we don't have any memories of the sheep being living in the attic.
But it's to make that connection between something that's happening to these animals in the story, and we want them to say, hey, that sparks something in my own brain. I remember when I was sick and I didn't feel well, and so my mom took care of me just like this. It's a book to self-connection.
Okay, and the older kids, this is one of my favorite parts. It says, too sick to be outside, I see. Then you're too sick to watch TV. No toys, no games, just stay in bed. No popcorn, you'll have mush instead. Older kids will relate to this. I say this to my own children. If you're too sick to go to school, you're not watching TV and laying in bed.
The next thing you know,
they're feeling better.
They feel better. It's like a miracle cure.
Yeah.
That makes me remind me of a little off tangent, not with preschoolers, but a book-to-book connection. Because you know that my favorite poem by Shel Silverstein, which is called Sick. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. And it's just because she doesn't want to go to school until she finds out it's Saturday.
The end of the book, hold on.
Oh.
The little boy gets sick and the animals take care of him. So then you can say, did your mom get sick? Did you take care of your mom?
Book to self-connections.
So I really like it, as you can tell.
Here are 2 more suggestions of topics that are really easily relatable to preschoolers. This one is called The Grumpy Morning by Darcia Labrosse. And in this story, the animals are all grumpy because it is time to wake up and eat breakfast, but the farmer is late. He is, or she is still sleeping, and the animals want to eat breakfast. And so here we would say, does this remind you of anything that's ever happened to you? Have you ever woken up before your parents were awake and you wanted to eat breakfast, but they were still in bed? And hopefully the students will be like, yes, I always get up before my kids. I always get up before my mom. And so they're making this book to self. This reminds me of something in my own life that has happened to me. I'm making a book to self-connection. And our third example is Mrs. Wishy-Washy, which those books by Joy Cowley are perfect for farm units. There's a bunch of them. And this one is called Mrs. Wishy-Washy's Farm.
So the animals in this one, she makes them have a bath, and they don't want to have a bath. They want to stay dirty, and she makes them all get in the tub.
So these animals are angry at Mrs. Wishy-Washy because they do not want to take a bath. And so right at that point in the story, we would stop and say, does this remind you of anything that's ever happened to you? Have you ever not wanted to take a bath? And that's always something that gets kids talking, because some kids are like, no, I love to take a bath. And other kids are like, I don't want to take a bath. And in this story, they
run away.
The animals run into the city.
Yeah.
Make trouble.
Then they get really dirty.
Your mom's on.
Hi, Mom. They get really dirty.
They're covered in paint and food.
And this can remind me, hey, I get really messy when I paint too.
And then, of course, at the end, they're so happy to go back to the farm and jump into the tub to take their bath. So any book, it doesn't have to be these 3 specific books, any book that is relatable. Somebody getting sick, somebody having a new baby brother or sister,
somebody moving
to a new house, getting an injury or a boo-boo, being grumpy or mad at their mom. A lot of those llama books.
Never mad at my mom. Right, Mom?
Hi, Miss Francis. Llama, mad at mama. Those are all really good books for making book to self connection because they're based on things that happen to our preschoolers in their everyday life. And so use your story time. Take advantage of those opportunities to model important comprehension strategies with your students, because then when they get to elementary school, they will have them in place. They'll have that memory like, oh, I know how to do this because when I read, I think it reminds me of something. And they'll become better readers in kindergarten, first, second, third, and throughout life. So our job is not just playing. I mean, we do a lot of playing, but we also lay this really essential, important framework for our students' brains so that they can be successful students throughout life. So your job is important. Keep up the great work. Have fun playing and learning with your kids, everybody.
See you next time.
Bye, friends. Bye.